What is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. With our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
Hello, JJ Wang. We are recording during halftime of the Buccaneers-Rams game. So no matter when you're listening this week, that's when life is for us. And yesterday was you don't want to be a number one seed in the NFL playoffs this year.
Yeah, not good, man. I mean, the Packers was a rough one.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad that didn't happen during the regular season. Us Devonta Adams owners would have had some rough weeks.
I
Mixing.
For your special teams to just lose the game for you like that, I mean, it's gotta be hard. Offense didn't do all that much at all either, but defense played spectacularly, didn't allow any points, and then your special teams got hurt.
So, but before I take us into the episode here with our quick little startup stuff, does Aaron Rodgers play football next year?
Does he play football?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I think he definitely.
Does he play for the Packers next year?
I think he still plays for the Packers. I don't think he goes.
Yeah. I'm 100% with you. So hit us up on Twitter, email, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, the website, thefantasycouriers.wixsite.com/website. All that's in the bottom. You don't have to understand what I just said, but I say it to say it so you hear it. Send us some things you'd like us to talk about. We got ideas. We could talk for days. We could make up stuff to talk about. We could talk about stuff you want to talk about. For something you want to hear about, hit us up. We'll get you. We are at episode 49. So next week is our 50th episode spectacular. We'll probably talk about football.
Wow.
And we are actually also something cool too, is we are closing in on 1,000 podcast listens.
Oh, nice.
I still think it's off by a smidge, hit it up or down. I'm not sure, but hey, I'm going to use what Anchor is showing us. So we could be hitting our 1,000th podcast listen pretty soon. I'll announce that and I'll go, ooh, give us a little hand wiggle celebration. That's the dancing you'll get from me.
But spear fingers.
Spear finger. Oh yeah.
Spear fingers. Yeah.
We do that when you shot ball in high school. Have the fingers. Whoosh,
fingers.
Oh yeah.
I should shoot ball very much. So
hey, I remember that one. Remember that game? There's one game I remember. You went in lights out.
Only game I remember as well.
That was a pretty awesome game.
But now I'm living through my daughter. We just got back from some rec games, and we ended up going into overtime.
Ooh.
And they only play one overtime. They don't go into the second overtime. So
was it tight?
We fouled with like 20 seconds left. They made one free throw. We were down 2. They missed the second free throw. They end up getting it to my daughter with like less than 2 seconds left. She makes a shot, and we ended up with a tie. So I thought we had won the game. I'm coaching, of course. I thought we had won the game. I was on the sideline. I was jumping up and down, dancing. I thought we had won. I'll take the tie though. I mean, she made the last shot for a tie, so she's pretty confident in herself right now. She's kind of feeling it.
That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Those dad moments, man. Dad moments.
But enough about basketball. Let's talk about football.
So we're trying to grow the subscribership on YouTube. We're everywhere you want to listen to us. You're listening to us here. If you're on Facebook, go check out some of the other places as well. We got it. But this week, we are still in our off-season We're not starting 2022 yet too much. Today is a little more about 2022 season. Last week we gave our MVPs. If you want to go listen, try doing it in 2 sessions. We got really talkative. We talked for a while last week about the guys that we thought were our fantasy MVPs. This week we're going to be a smidge shorter. We're going to talk about 5 guys that we think could sneak up into the top 5. We're stretching a little bit for pretty much most of these guys. I think your tight end might be the only one on our list that I'm 100% confident in. But these are guys I think.
Yeah, when I did this, you said top 5. My guys kind of stretched it out to more like maybe top 10 because it's hard for these guys to jump into the top 5. But I mean, like I think a couple of my guys I think have chances, but I kind of stretched it out a little more when I did mine. Having guys up in the top, there's only 5 spots there. I mean, we're trying to.
Yeah, I'm not sure any of mine could hit top 5. Like flex, we'll talk about later. I stretched out past as well, thinking a top 5 flex position versus a top 5 at his personal position, sort of where I went with that one. But yeah, let's start with quarterbacks. I mean, the top 5, as we were talking before the show, you're mentioning, the top 5s, who those top 5 guys are. And I mean, it depends upon next weekend because you got Brady and Rodgers.
Honestly, I think you pretty much know like the top 7 or 8, to be honest. I mean, like you still got Rodgers, and then Herbert. So I think six or seven, top seven is pretty much going to be the same. It's just whether these younger guys can jump into it. So what's your first young guy?
So I'm going to go with your guy. You're one of your guys from
All my
beginning
guys.
of the year. And if you listen to the podcast, you heard me weighing on him. But the last game of the year really just gave me hope that that Sunshine was gonna come back next year. Trevor Lawrence, if he gets a good coach. I mean, that last game he had 23 for 32, 223, two touches. Um, that's a solid game for a rookie as they're learning the system. I just think the team was so terribly run, so terribly coached. And this pick, I think I might be a year too early, but I believe they're going to get a coach that's going to be a quarterback whisperer. With all my heart and soul, I believe it's going to be Byron Leftwich, which I think would be great for him because Byron will bring what he learned from Tom Brady this year, because I think they're close to the same age, give or take a couple of years, and what he's learned from Arians and bring that system in. Trevor can't be worse. Let's put it that way. He can't be worse. Hopefully they'll be smart with him, let him use his legs a little more, maybe bring in a little more protection in, and Laviska Shenault will remember the player that we thought he was going to be. But Trevor Lawrence, I think, could be a sneaky up in there if he uses. I think the theme to get into that top five is legs, and I think you're going to go into that with your pick. I'm for sure. With legs is what's going to get you into the top five with a bunch of these stud pocket passers. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean that's the easiest way to get there. I mean it's a little harder than I guess it's really harder than that. But like I said, that's the easiest way to get there. I mean, if you're not going to get the passing yards. Like I said, I don't think they're going to get the passing yards. Like I said, Trevor Lawrence did not look great throughout the regular season. That last game, he looked good. So I think that's what people are holding on to. I like Trevor Lawrence, but we'll see. And with my guy, I'm going to stick to the rookies because I feel like that's really the only place we can go is with the rookies. I feel like they're the only ones that have the opportunity that haven't shown anything yet that can actually jump into it. And like I said, I'm a fan of pretty much all of them. It was either Fields or Lance here. I went Trey Lance because I think there's more of an option. I think 49ers better. Shanahan's better. I can't believe the 49ers are winning with as bad as Garoppolo is playing. Garoppolo looks like crap out there. But somehow he ends up winning.
That last drive.
I don't get it. Just because I think Kyle Shanahan's offense is that good. So when you put in a quarterback that's actually athletic, can make plays, I think that's what it's about. I mean, he looked good when he was in there. 2 games over 20 points, and then 1 game that was that was under. But like I said, I think his yards are going to come. He's going to run. He's going to pass. He's got weapons. I think Trey Lance is like surefire, at least the top 10.
What are the odds if you had it? What are the odds that San Francisco totally does something weird and they keep they win the Super Bowl?
There's zero.
They
odds.
keep Garoppolo. You think zero?
There's zero odds. Why?
You can give it 1%.
There's zero. There's 0% chance. I don't care if you win a Super Bowl or not. It's
wow.
You can't go into the season with Garoppolo as your quarterback. I mean, Garoppolo just doesn't look that good. There's too many turnovers, too many bad plays. There should have been like 6 interceptions last night. Some of the balls he was doing. I think there's an absolute. I don't care. I mean, if he wins the Super Bowl, great. But I don't think you trade all these picks, trade up to get Lance, and retain Garoppolo. And if you do retain Garoppolo, he's not going to be the starter. I mean,
yeah.
You just can't do it.
My brother's a Niners fan. He's pretty sure that this playoff run is getting them a first-round pick for Garoppolo.
Oh, I mean, that might happen. At that point, you got to send out your pick. But, I mean, if I could get a first round for Garoppolo, I'd send him out right now in the middle of the playoffs.
Okay.
like, peace out.
I started with quarterbacks. Hit us up with your running back. You got a running back that I had a lot of, and then I used him as trade bait.
My running back, I'm keeping with the same team. I've never been short on my love for Kyle Shanahan. I think his offense is great. His running offense is just fantastic. Pretty much every coach that's come out from underneath him is good. The offenses work. I'm going with Elijah Mitchell. I think he was, I'm not sure what he was, the 20-something running back. Yeah. So he was the 26 running back in PPR. They can get a few more catches. That's just in 11 games. He had 900 yards in 11 games, 137 yards receiving, 6 touchdowns. I think if he plays a full 16, 17 games, I know it's hard for running back. I think it's going to be him and Trey Sermon next year with Elijah Mitchell getting the bulk of the carries. He's going to be the guy going into it. So as long as he's healthy, I think you got a top 12 running back.
Who's this Trey Sermon fellow? I never heard of
I
him
have no
before.
idea. It's just a name I just brought up. I
Oh.
can't. I feel like I remember it from somewhere, but I could be. I could be lying.
Well, if I didn't know who that was, I'd have David Montgomery in my team because I traded David Montgomery to you so I could draft Trey Sermon.
I do remember that.
And but I get Amon Ra in there. Oh, that's who I should have put in here. That's my
But
boy.
yeah, I mean Trey Sermon might not even be on the team next year. I mean that's very possible as well. I wouldn't doubt that at all. It's a third round pick. I mean, hopefully
Trading
he
with
comes
Jimmy
in and tries
Garoppolo,
something.
right?
But yeah, but I think Mitchell has done completely enough to secure that spot. Who you got?
To finish up yours real quick, I think Trey Sermon better learn to catch because that's going to be his job. Mitchell doesn't catch the ball, so Sermon will get that. I got Michael Carter. I liked him coming into the year. I hated where he went because if you go to the Jets, you go there to die. And they didn't really do a lot with him for a while. They gave him some opportunities, and then give or take halfway through the season, they let him play. He had some injuries along the way as well, but when he played, he looked like an NFL player. He was getting decent receptions. He had a 9 reception game, an 8 reception game. And I mean, the most carries he had was 16, but usually roughly around 11 or 12. But for a rookie running back coming into a system where you knew they're going to have to pass because they're not going to run and they were chasing their tails all year, that I think going into the second year, Michael Carter with his if those nine are he has an 8 to 9 catch week, if that turns into 6 a week, that makes him a PPR value, a half point PPR, a little bit less, but he's like I told you before, a poor man's Alvin Kamara. Kamara always caught the ball a ton, didn't run for a ton of yards. Michael Carter's first year rushing, very similar to Kamara's. He only had, what was it, about 140 yards less or so based, and that was without playing all 16 games, but Kamara's catching just blew him out of the water. That's why he's a poor man's Kamara for me. But I think they're gonna try. They can't be worse. Wilson will be more comfortable. They'll have a whole off season together, and I think Michael Carter could step it up. He has a chance based upon receptions, just like the legs
Yeah,
of Lawrence.
yeah, that's where he's going to make. That's where he's going to make his money is with the receptions. I don't. I think they'll probably bring in another running back that's going to take away the probably the goal line opportunities. But you said Kamara, yeah. I mean, somewhere along the lines, he gets the 700-800 yards rushing, 700-800 yards receiving. That's what you're looking for. What 50-60 catches, couple. I mean, that's ideally. I mean, of course, that's a great season. I mean, ideally, that's what you would want. But he is with the Jets. Jets team's going to have to get better. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's there. I don't know if he can be top 5. I don't even know if he can be top 10, but I think he can be on the cusp. Like I said, he's got to they got to throw him the ball. That's the only way he's going to be able to do it.
100%. And so we'll jump to wide receivers. This is my favorite pick of the day. You got to know that. But it's a good pick at least. You got to give him that. It's Jalen Waddle set the rookie record for receptions by a rookie, overcoming Bolden, actually even playing less games due to some injuries. But as long as Tua is the quarterback, he's going to get the ball thrown at him. He had a 13 target game, 11 target game, 10 target game, 11 target game, 12 target game. He had 7 double digit target games. And if you're getting that, and then other than that, he had 2 target games lower than 6. So if you're getting targets like that, touchdowns are going to come. Tua should have more time next year because they're going to hopefully draft a lineman, or they're just going to put some sandbags there because they can't do a worse job of protecting Tua. And he's just going to keep throwing it to Waddle because he doesn't know how to do anything else. And Waddle will just keep getting those receptions. But let's say 2-3 more touchdowns, and that puts him up into that next level. Maybe not top 5 like you were saying earlier. So if we say top 7 to 10, 12, a wide receiver 1 is a possibility. I mean, wide receiver is so tough anyway. But if you're going to do it, you got to catch a lot of balls.
I mean, honestly, of course, I like Waddle coming in, and you say, Waddle can jump into that top 5, top 10 or whatever next. Honestly, I think Waddle's already there. I mean, the second half of the season, was he not a top 10 wide receiver? Was he not a wide receiver 1 in the second half of the season? If that's what we're looking at, Waddle's already there. So if he puts together a whole season like that, I mean, I don't. Of course, I'm going to say extrapolate just because I don't get to say extrapolate very
You
often.
sound
I
so
think it's cool.
smart.
I
Literally
think it's
smart.
a cool. I think it sounds cool. I think it's a cool word. So let's say so if you extrapolate that out over the whole season, out over the whole season, he's already a top 5 wide receiver. That they don't have any other options.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're going to try to get the run game a little better. Hopefully maybe Tua can take a step forward. Hopefully, but yeah, I think Waddle's already there. So yeah, I don't
You always
think
got to
he.
play. That's the
I don't
key
think.
too. Like Brissett didn't throw to him whatsoever. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
it's just he's got to play. Period. So that would be a difference too.
Yeah, so that like the second half of the season, he was just getting peppered with targets more or
Mhm.
less. But if he was getting the same target count in the first half that he was getting in the second half, I mean, we're talking probably 200 targets. It's a lot, and they probably would have got more touchdowns. So there's those 2 or 3 touchdowns we were talking about.
Yeah.
So
He
yeah,
got
I think
6 still.
Miami's already got that guy. But we'll switch over here to my guy. This so this guy, he's not there yet, but I think there towards the end of the season, he
Mhm.
looked like he belonged, right?
Yeah.
And I think going into next season, he's going to be the definite number 2 on that team.
Mhm.
And that team is not going to be is still going to be just as good. And I'm talking about the Buffalo Bills. I'm talking about Gabe Davis. All right. So he's been in the league for 2 years. And pretty much exactly the same season both years. 63 targets, 62 targets, 35 catches both seasons, 575 yards, and 6 to 7 touchdowns, right? So if he and in the beginning of the season, it's kind of like Waddle. He wasn't being used in the beginning of the season because they got Emmanuel Sanders, and so it took him a while to get involved. So I'm gonna say it again. If you extrapolate, his second
Ooh.
half of the season over into that first half of the season, I don't think we got a top 5, but I think we've got a definite top 10. Because I think, like you said, he's in
Ooh.
that high-powered offense. They love to pass the ball. Now, granted, I think they might try to get a running back, maybe run the ball a little more.
Mhm.
But Josh Allen likes to sling it, and there's plenty of yards to go around. So he was number 57 PPR this year. I know it's going to be a big jump, but I'm going Gabe Davis.
Wowie, yow, zowie, wowie. Here we go. So yeah, I love Gabe
That's not as
Davis.
good as extrapolate, but
Yeah, I know it's my level of thinking. I liked him a lot preseason, and he slowly came into the system. Looked like he's in there. I don't know if I could put him even top 10 because I'm thinking you're going to have in that system a top 12 receiver already in Diggs. You're going to have Dawson Knox. I didn't choose him as my player. He could easily be a top 5 tight end. I mean, he was
but
literally like 4 points
but
from.
Dawson Knox isn't going to be a tight end because he gets a lot of catches and he gets a lot of yards. Dawson Knox is going to be a top 5 tight end because he gets a lot of touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, he's going to do what Stephon Diggs do. He wasn't as great this year as he was last year.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many teams do we see every year come in with 2 top 12 receivers? I mean,
Next year there'll be one. It'll be the Cincinnati Bengals.
there's usually 1 or 2 every year. So, I mean, this offense is just as good as the Cincinnati offense. I'm not saying the receivers are as good, but like I said, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I mean, I definitely see a wide receiver 2 here, but I can see him solidifying that number 2 spot from the get go. The whole season.
Yeah.
I mean, 80 catches for 1,100 yards and what 12 touchdowns. I mean,
12.
he's getting set.
You're
He's
planting a flag.
I mean, he's a touchdown machine. Go back and look at the games that he played. I mean, this guy's when he plays, he scores touchdowns.
I just closed my tab.
So I mean, he's played pretty much when he gets his targets and he gets the opportunity, the guy scores touchdowns.
Dang on, he had more touchdowns than Waddle.
I'm telling you, he's a touchdown maker. So going from wide receiver to tight end, my tight end, I'm not a big fan, but this guy really also came on at the end of the season. Again, if you extrapolate it out the whole way, we're talking top 5 because he got a lot of targets in the last few weeks. That's Dallas Goedert. He's a big guy. That third, fourth year, that's about when tight ends really start coming into their own. He can block. I mean, good downfield target. I mean, I don't have really much to say. Hopefully, they get a better quarterback in there that can pass the ball. But I mean, I think
you just lost our only fan. You know that, right? You just lost our only fan.
But I think out of all of them that we're talking about here, I think Goddard is probably the only one that could legitimately make it into the top 5.
He was going to be a guy I was going to put in there because I just think Hurts is going to be the quarterback there. So they're not getting anybody else. And he did come on towards the end, and Hurts, I don't think can get worse. He's got to get better. I mean, he wasn't. I mean, as an NFL player, but as a fantasy player, he's magnificent. NFL player, you're sweating bullets every time he's playing. So,
And he finally realized, like, just throw it to the big guy in the middle of the field, and that's what he started doing at the end of the season. He was throwing it to Goddard a lot, and Goddard was coming up the catches.
yeah, and if I'd have started Dallas Goddard in the first week of the playoffs, I would have won another league instead of coming in sixth place. Ah! So yeah, I love Goddard. I'm a Goddard guy. My guy, I'm stretching a little bit, and I before the show I was gonna change, but you convinced me sort of to stick with my guy, and I'm going with Pat Freiermuth. Pat Freiermuth with Captain Noodle Arm this year still had 60 receptions, almost 500 yards, and 7 touchdowns. And so he's a 6'5", 258, decent sized dude in the middle, and
decent
sized tight end.
He's
no Mo Alley Cox.
That's not a decent sized tight end. That is an extremely abnormal tight end. I feel like 6'5" is better than I think 6. What was his weight?
6'5", 258. So he's solid.
That's pretty big, dude.
So I'll bounce off him if I run into him. But with his size, and man, I hope it's not, as long as it's not Mason Rudolph. Like I have a little hope that it's gonna be Dwayne Haskins. I'll be honest. I don't know why. I kind of have this. I think I have a little soft spot, hoping that he gets the redemption story and comes back, and he does. There's a movie made about how terrible he was. I don't know, but whoever it is going to be coming into a offense that has not a great line, so they're going to have to. That's why he got 60 catches, because they had to get to him quick. He's got solid. If you watch him play, the dude's got really good hands, and if it's a rookie, even we always say a rookie's favorite person to throw to is the tight end.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I'm on board with Freiermuth. I like Freiermuth. I think he's going. Of course, they got a lot of weapons on that team, man.
He'll be down. I don't think Juju. I think Juju's going to wisen up this year, and he's going to go somewhere where he can.
No, but even then, they got 2 really good wide receivers, and they got a running back that can also catch. But yeah, I think Freiermuth can do enough to be a top five tight end. I mean, 10 touchdowns. That's a lot, but. Like you said, tight ends are favorite receivers of some of these guys, and I think he's a really big dude. I think he's got great size. He's just the same as Goddard. I mean,
yeah,
they're big and they can catch, and they're a big touchdown target.
This year it was a 4 tight end show, so the 5th tight end was Ertz with half point PPR is 143.7, tied with Gronk. And if you go down to Goddard was 137. Goddard was 6 points behind being that. Freiermuth was 121. So, I mean, they're within. There's that 2-3 touchdowns. Boom, booyah, there you got it. So,
I mean, it's there.
Within the range. So, we're going to end it here with our flex position starters. And I approach this thinking not that they're top 5 at their position, but if you were to plug this guy in at flex, that for the season, after you, and that would make him what, like after 24, maybe, would you think?
So, well, that's totally not what I did at all.
Yeah, so your guy went different. that was my train of thought. Like your guy, I love, man. He's one of my boys. But that's where I went with my guy, because I don't think he can be a number 1 as long as Aaron Jones is there. And I chose A.J. Dillon. They are a tandem running back, and especially if I think either way, if Rodgers comes back, they ran it some more, and he had some solid weeks. He had about half of his season, he had over 11 carries, and most of those it was closer to 15 up to 21, and without Aaron Jones at some point. But the dude still got 11 touchdowns. That's last year. He got 36 touchdowns. 36 touchdowns.
That's a number 1 running back
awesome.
right there.
He still got 5 touchdowns. Sorry, as the number 2 running back to a guy who got paid and was a clear-cut number 1. So if I'm sliding a guy in and I need a flex guy, A.J. Dillon falls into that spot. And if something happens to Jones or the price is right to trade Jones, I don't think that's going to happen. Usually Jones gets hurt. So as a flex starter, that's where I sort of put him in there he'd be someone that I would not hesitate to draft as a flex starter, because then eventually when Jones is hurt, boom, pop him right up in there.
I mean, this is the same offense as New England, right? The exact same situation. You know,
Mhm.
you're going to start Aaron
There you go.
Jones, and you're going to start Damian Harris as that guy, and then the other one is going to be the flex start, and they're both going to be flex start. I mean, can they come in and have 6 carries and get 10 yards? 100%. But can they also come in, get 12 to 13 carries and get like two touchdowns?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what the flex spot is. So I say the only way he becomes that guy is if Aaron Jones gets hurt. Aaron Jones is really, really good.
Yep. Aaron Jones is
Um,
hurt. I would argue him into that spot where I have Michael Carter. But if
oh,
Aaron Jones is
absolutely. I
there,
mean, I would put AJ Dillon above Michael Carter if
yeah. Oh yeah.
Aaron Jones got hurt. But
I love your
but
guy. Talk about
yes,
him.
so
Talk
we'll
about him.
do my guy real quick. Everybody loves this guy. I hope he's not that guy that everybody jumps on board with and he comes out and stinks. But he didn't stink at all this year, and he was literally split 50-50 down the middle. And that's hold on a second. Devonta Williams, right?
Yep.
So he split time, of course, with Melvin Gordon, pretty much a 50-50 timeshare, and he was still a 17th ranked running back in PPR. He had 900 yards rushing, he had 300 yards receiving, and a total of 7 touchdowns. So again, word of the day, extrapolate. We get rid of Melvin Gordon. We just extrapolate his 50% to what? 65, maybe 65%,
Depends who else is there.
70%, kind of like the Elijah Mitchell role. I mean, I think we're talking at definitely a top 10 running back. This is the guy that could jump into that top 5 as well if
I was
Melvin
thinking
Gordon
that.
comes back. But honestly, dude, I am looking terrible on my camera. I think it's because my lights
If you watch this, it's hilarious. You look like a ghost
I
in a
know.
dark spot or a. I don't. It's hilarious. Like
I
it's funny.
watch
You're
it.
fading in and
I don't
out.
know what's going on. Might be because my light's off. I didn't want to jump off.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're almost done here. There's no point now. But yeah, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they brought Gordon back again. I mean, it worked this year. I hope not, but Melvin Gordon might still be able to start for somebody somewhere else. Might go to the Dolphins. There you go. Take Melvin Gordon.
Hate Melvin Gordon.
But yeah, I think Devonta Williams definitely has the opportunity if he gets that workload to himself. 65%. Geez, this guy could be top 3. I mean, if he gets those touchdowns, I mean, because the running back is the only position that varies so much. I mean, you can have guys there one year and not the next, and then one guy jump up, and it's just crazy like that. So yeah, I mean, everybody loves Devonta Williams. I thought I'm not really jump on board, but since he's the hot commodity, I thought I'd throw him out there.
Yeah, my joy for next year is I have a league that I'm building. My starting running backs next year are Javonte Williams, Cam Akers, and Michael Carter. The future is bright.
Yeah, that looks. Still can't believe Cam Akers comes back, but yeah, that's our guys.
So yeah, those are our top 5 guys. We got some more treats coming for you in the upcoming week. So we're just gonna spend January till the Super Bowl. Currently, it looks like my Super Bowl pick is looking really, really, really good. And both of yours are in play. We'll see what happens. By the time you're all listening, you'll know whether JJ Wang's Buffalo Bills are still in play. I'm predicting they are. I got picked on some of my fantasy playoff challenges to go through, but JJ Wang, give us some wisdom to take us out of here.
Yeah, I don't have much wisdom. It's just like when you're in the off season, it's like just gotta continue to. You don't have to spend all your time, but keep your ear open to things. Like I said, you don't have to spend 75% of your life in the off season on fantasy, but I mean, you can check in from time to time. Make sure you're just keeping up with the news because I mean, you could catch something here. An easy trade for a guy that's not starting right now. That's the kind of stuff you got to look out for. But as always, trust yourself and trust the process.